This is Martin Host Press Conference. We are previewing our upcoming FA Cup quarter-final against Chelsea. We'll have questions all on the online feed today, so please use the raise hand function if you have questions. We have no embargoes on this. Emma Sanders, BBC, would you like to kick us off, please?
Hi Martin, hope you're well, nice to see you. Obviously, it's been a couple of defeats in a row now for the squad. Just wonder how you sort of pick them up and maintain their confidence, really, because obviously you've had a great season so far, so I'd imagine 3 defeats in a row maybe just hurt them a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of... It definitely hurts when you lose, because you don't want to lose, and you don't want to lose maybe in the manner we have at times, and that's not down to the lack of effort, commitment or desire to do things. I think we've been on the back end of teams who've been ruthless around the box, and we've maybe given them the odd chance that we should have. But yeah, no, team in good spirits. They've trained really well the last couple of days. Yeah, and you're just trying to lift energy, and it's natural for people to be down because they want to win, and they're winners inside. But yeah, we're in a good space. We're doing everything we can to keep pushing, and now we go into we can change the focus completely now, Emma, because we have a quarter final in front of us in a different competition.
Yeah, like you say, it's a quarter final in any competition is always a big deal. How much confidence does that give the squad that you're able to reach these stages of cup competitions as well as maintain that form in the WSL as well? Yeah,
important. I think in the competition we've done well. You have to play the top teams if you want to win the competition, and I think we had a good run. The last game was a very good one for the neutral, definitely. Going to extra time, going to penalties, and then showing a really strong mentality in that game. And we know that this test against Chelsea is going to be tough. But we know that in the games we've played them this season, they've been really tight, and we've had numerous opportunities. We've controlled parts of those games, and we need to go in with the confidence that we know that we can compete.
Obviously, Chelsea had a disappointing result themselves in the Champions League. Is that something maybe you might be able to take advantage of, that they're a team that's hurting at the moment, and obviously you can, I suppose, dent that even further on Monday? Yeah,
they've just come off the back of being knocked out the Champions League over 2 legs, and I think they performed really well in both of them. Maybe unfortunate with maybe some of the goals and stuff that didn't go their way, but they're still a wonderful team, and they'll probably want to respond in the right way, and Sonia will want her players to respond in the right way, and we have to be prepared that this is going to be moments where we're going to have to suffer, and we will, and then there's going to be moments where we have the ball, and when we have that, do we have quality in those moments that we can show what we're capable of? And I think we've done that really, really well in the last game we played them at home. For the first 45 minutes, I thought we were very good, apart from conceding that goal.
Yeah, you mentioned the FA Cup's obviously a different competition, a way maybe that you can take a step back from the WSL, but just wondering if you've had time to reflect a little bit now that you're approaching the end of the season. Obviously, you signed a new contract recently yourself as well. Just reflecting in terms of where the club's come in the last sort of 8-9 months or so. Yeah,
I think we've come a long way, Emma. Off the pitch, on the pitch, the infrastructure and the resources around the players, how efficient we've been as staff to try and apply the right processes for the players to be ready for the weekend, and then we've tried to create a new identity and grow the team and put some foundations in place that enable us to be successful moving forward, and then evolve the squad as we've done in both windows, and we know if we want to be better we have to do that again, and we will do. But I'm really pleased with where we're at. We can't let 2 or 3 of these games kind of cover over the work that we've done in this short space of time. I think it's been remarkable from a player and staff perspective of what we've put in place, and we can definitely build from this, and it's a really good platform to build from when you've finished where we finished last year to now, and there's been huge growth and progress in on and off the pitch aspects. We can look at it with a lot of pride.
All the best on Monday.
Thank you, take care.
Thanks, Emma. Tom Gary.
Can you hear me? Oh, brilliant. Thanks a lot, Mike, for your time. Good to speak to you, and congrats on the new deal.
Cheers, thank you.
I've only really got one question to follow up from that, really, which is just after this game, you're going to have a 3-week break. I'm just wondering what that's like as a head coach. How do you prepare for that? What's that going to look like for Tottenham's players and staff who are still around the place?
Yeah, we'll still have a group of players training here. We'll have a lot of players away on international like we did on the last break. And obviously the international breaks now, Tom, some of them are 2 weeks long, so you're away from the group and maybe you lose a little bit of rhythm, and a bit of continuity around the pitch, because they go away with the different nations and play different ways and have a lot of travelling and different information to take on. And sometimes it's tough, don't get me wrong, because you want like a continuity and a consistency with it, but also that's part and parcel of the programme, and what we have to do is not find any excuses with it and try and find solutions of how we can best prepare the players when they come back. And I think what's nice as a coach is you have a full week of training into the game, and you're maybe not coming off the back of 1 or 2 training sessions into a game, and your players have travelled from so many different places. So we have a full week in, which is nice. But if we could have more games consistently, I'd enjoy that more.
And so, how nice would it be to end this kind of block with a win in a cup game? Yeah,
huge. And that's the ambition, that's the drive, that's the focus of the team. Have we been happy with parts of our performances in the last games? No. Have we been happy with some of it? Yes, because I think there's spells and there's progress that we've made. But we go into this game with the belief and confidence that we can get to a semi-final, with the belief and a confidence that we can progress forward and compete against Chelsea, which we've showed in our games that we can when we're at it. And we'll make sure we're at it going into the weekend.
Thanks, Mike. All the best for the game.
Cheers, Tom. Take care.
Kit Shepherd.
Hey Martin, nice to see you.
You too.
Hi. There's been a really good season for Tottenham. Feels like a lot of progress. Does the team now kind of need a really big statement win in a knockout game against a team like Chelsea to kind of show that it's capable of taking that next step and keeping that progress going for the rest of the season and beyond?
I don't think we need it. We should want it more than just needing it as like a flash in the pan. We should want to win those games, and I have no doubt we want to win the game. But it doesn't. We don't go into it thinking we need to do this and add more pressure than we need to. I think when we play with freedom and we play our way and we do things the way we want to do it, and focus on us, then I think we perform at a really high level. But we have to make sure that we know that in these games we need to lift our performances if we want to get over the line, and there's no bigger test than Chelsea. So we've got to make sure we're really at it come Monday.
Yeah, Chelsea obviously had the reputation as being like this mentally indestructible team that's serial winners for several seasons. Maybe that's slightly slipped a little bit this year because they're not at the top of WSL. How much does that original reputation still exist for Chelsea, and how much will you need to overcome that challenge that they'll pose on Monday, or do you feel it has slipped and it's not there anymore?
No, it's definitely there. You don't become a bad team because you're not top of the WSL. Look how many seasons they've won the league consistently, then the Champions League latter stages. They've already won one cup this year. They're still in the run for the FA Cup. So under no illusions, they're a good team, and every team can have its season where maybe they're not completely at it, and Chelsea are in a bit of that transition, maybe, if you want to say, of new manager, new players, and they're trying to find their way with it. But they're still a wonderful team. They've got world-class players, world-class manager, and if you're having a bad season and you're still sitting in the top 2 of the WSL, I don't think it's too bad. If that's a bad season, I would take it. So yeah, they're in a good place and they're a wonderful team, and that we know in terms of what they're capable of doing. They're serial winners, as you said. They're used to winning, and maybe the knockouts of the Champions League will infuse a reaction from them. But we've got to be prepared to match that, because we should go into this game after Arsenal waiting to prove a point.
Can I just quickly ask about something completely different, Martin?
Yeah.
But you probably have seen this week Tottenham fans have raised concerns about Roberto De Zerbi's appointment on the men's side of the club because of previous comments relating to Mason Greenwood. I appreciate it's a very sensitive issue, but as a representative of a team of women, just do you have any thoughts to share on those fans' concerns? No,
more for me. I think Roberto's a world-class manager, and he's proven that in the Premier League. And yeah, whatever. Now for us as a club, we have to make sure we support Roberto to make sure we can get the club over the line in the Premier League and make sure we stay up. But I'm sure Roberto will come out if you ask him those questions and address them himself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks. Chris Cowling.
Hi Martin, hope you're well. Can we start with the team news, and is Ellen Morris available for this one?
Yeah, and everyone was available for the last one, Chris. It's more just the squad. You can only pick 20 players in your squad, and I just picked the squad of 20 that I feels right for the game, what I'm going to use, what we're not going to use in that moment, and then also taking into consideration all the other aspects around training and so on. And unfortunately I have to pick a squad of 20, which is not easy, because I have a wonderful group of players. But yeah, everyone's available for selection going into this game, apart from Micah Hamano, who obviously can't contribute to this game.
Now it's already been spoken about the team and this poor run that you're on at the moment, but how has it been for you personally over the last 3 games? Because you speak very passionately to us week by week, saying that you want to win every game. Yeah,
and it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. You maybe, I don't doubt what I'm doing or doubt what we're doing. You become frustrated and maybe doubt at times in terms of, am I doing something wrong? Can I be doing something different to make sure that we can get over the line? But I'm under no illusions in terms of the progress we've made and what we've delivered this season, that when we come into these games, we know they're going to be tough. We know the sides we're up against, and we know we've got a lot of work to do to get to that level of where they're at. And that's no illusion. We know that we've got work to do if we want to be competing at that top level. But what shouldn't shy away from, which we won't, is making sure we're competitive in games and we're building on those performances. And we're creating a lot of chances against these teams, and we just need to convert. And I think once you can get maybe a foothold and a head in one of these games, it can maybe change the dynamic for you.
Martin, how are you feeling about this game on Monday against Chelsea? Because of course you've faced them twice already, both at home and away in the WSL. What have we made of those challenges so far? Yeah,
the away game I thought we were very good for large parts. Yeah, we were defensive a lot in that game, and Chelsea pushed us back, but I thought we stood the pressure quite well. We defended the box well. And then it took a Kira Walsh wonder strike to open us up, and they then take that game 1-0, and then we come into the home game, and I thought before their first goal we had the crossbar, we had numerous chances in and around their half of the pitch, and we just didn't convert. And then they converted from a set play, which kind of knocked the stuffing out of us, and they got one very quickly after half time on the break, which then causes a problem. In moments where I feel we need to probably manage better, is those moments when we're on top. We need to make sure we capitalise and take 1 or 2 of those chances. And then definitely when we're defending, we need to be a lot more robust in terms of not conceding cheap goals and not conceding easy goals. And they're aspects that we need to focus on going into Monday.
Lastly from me, just wanted to ask you about the under-19s. Of course, they're in quarter-final cup action this evening. Free entry for the fans as well. How important is the development squad for you? Yeah, huge. And we have young players training with us from the under-19s regularly. So the youth development here, it's a really big ethos of the club to develop your own players and make sure we have an academy that produces a pathway and a conveyor belt of talent for the women's team, and the same for the men's and the academy teams too. We need to make sure we continue to build on that. And we've got some wonderful talented players, and they deservedly should be in that position now after the performances they've had. And I wish them all the best with their game, and I have no doubts they should get through. Best of luck. Thanks, Martin.
Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Helen?
Hi, Martin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really pleased to see you as usual. Just a couple of quick questions. The FA Cup has always meant quite a lot to Tottenham as a club. And obviously they came quite close a couple of years ago, the women's team. And I wonder what it means to you for Spurs.
Yeah, playing in, it's the most prestigious competition in England for a cup competition. You play at Wembley as a final. So who doesn't want to play there as a coach, as a player, and as a club? You want to make sure that you can get to those finals. And as you said, they've been there before, so they know what it feels like to be there as a team and as a club. So we need to make sure that we can give the fans and the club more days like that. And we've got a task in front of us now in Chelsea, and we have to make sure that if we want to get there, you have to beat these teams.
And I also wonder, sort of doing a bit of a widescreen, like Emma was talking about, across the season, for you as their coach, what do you enjoy most about coaching and working with and watching this Spurs team at the moment?
More the desire, the passion they play with, their enthusiasm for the growth and development of the team, and then furthermore seeing players play with a smile on their face, play with freedom, and then when we're performing and we know we're at our best, the energy, enthusiasm that gives not just the team but gives the staff, the wider staffing group, the wider club. But I get a lot of pride in watching the team play. They're playing a really brave way of football and a brave way of playing, and when we do that, I think we're at our best. And actually this year, I think if in many games where we've shown a real mentality, Helen, to when we've been behind, we've responded, and we've come back and won games. And I think that mentality's changed from maybe the previous seasons where when we went behind, we haven't been able to kind of come back in the games. And I think that's a big thing to take forward, that when you're down, you're not out, and this club kind of dies on its sword when we're in those moments. And I think the players have started to really live the values of this club and team.
And just one last thing is, both your defence and Chelsea's defence have shown a little bit of weakness recently. Chelsea is behind the centre-backs, who are just a bit slow to turn. It struck me that against Arsenal, you were a bit light on your left-hand side in defence. I think it's the left. And I wonder if you can exploit Chelsea's maybe slightly lumbering centre-backs.
Yeah, I think there's areas we feel we can exploit, and don't get me wrong, you've got really strong centre-backs there, Khadija Buchanan, Naomi Germa, Lucy Bronze, Burnham. You've got some really strong players in those positions and vastly experienced in a lot of them, from really high levels of football in European football and in big competitions. So we know that we're going to have to make sure when we exploit those areas and we look to get into certain areas of the pitch, that we're effective with doing it. And when we get in those positions, we've got to be prepared to be ruthless, because you'll only get numerous chances against these teams, and if we don't capitalise, we won't come out on top. But also at the other side, we've got to make sure that we defend our box well, we defend those spaces well, which they try to go into, which is down the sides of the pitches and behind the back line. And if we defend those spaces well, and we look to pick up the first and second contacts, which is going to be important in the game with the way they play, if we do that, we'll come out on top in those duels, and that then should enable us to go and push the game.
Brilliant, thanks so much. Good luck.
Cheers, Helen, thank you.
Dan Pentland.
Martin, hope you're well. I suppose, back 5-2 defeats, you've obviously stuck the ball in the net at one end, conceded too many goals. So, what are the main kind of takeaways that you've taken from those 2 defeats?
Lots of aspects, definitely with the ball, especially. I think second half against Arsenal, even first half against Arsenal, we created moments in the first half. Second half, we had some moments with the ball where we progressed well, but we just lacked maybe that cutting edge in front of goal, and maybe the bravery to actually go and finish and go and take a little bit of responsibility. And then in the City game was the same. Second half, I thought we were outstanding in the second half against Man City. Created so many chances, pushed them back in their half. I think they only got out of it a handful of times, and then really defended well in that game. And what we've got to make sure is we start games quicker than we have been. We're better in terms of defending the box from set plays, and that's an area we need to really push, which we spoke to the players about. And then especially in open play, making sure that we're not allowing teams to have opportunities in the box where they're like free hits. And but we can take lots of learnings from those learnings from those games, give you experience and kind of best practice moving forward to tell you where you're at and where you need to go. And I'm under no illusions. Can we compete at that level? Yes. Are we going to be consistently at that level? Probably not. But what we need to do is make sure that these experiences enable us to grow next season, and I have no doubts in 6, 12, 18 months time we'll be in a totally different place.
I just want to ask you a little bit about Matilda Vinberg. Obviously she's just recently signed a new deal, but I think goal involvements, she's had something like 4 in the last 5 games, which is really impressive. So what are the next kind of steps in her development? Yeah,
I think she's a really talented player, and maybe people haven't seen the best of her, and no one sees how much goes on behind the scenes, if they're struggling with injury, illness and so on, and it takes time to build yourself back into a rhythm. And I think if you look, like you said, she's had goal involvements, I think 5 or 4 in the last 5 games, as you said, and she's contributing now to a lot of attacking play. But not just that, Dan, she's going the other way. Her mobility and her ability to defend in big spaces, her ability to press higher up the pitch and recover is really big, and she covers probably the highest high-speed meters in our team by a long way. And I think what she gives us in both phases is important, and I think now moving forward for her is probably adding those goal and assist contributions more and trying to lift those numbers objectively to get in more scoring positions and get in more assist positions where she can create and score for the team, but also try and evolve herself as a more dynamic player in wider and central positions, because she can play wide and she can play central, and what I want to do is grow in that central position where she works inside, because of her capabilities when she carries and the kind of dynamic approach she has in 1v1s in the centre of the pitch is really effective. And I think if you see some of the goals, especially the London City one, she's inside and then runs behind. So yeah, the ability for her to attack spaces 1v1 but also handle the ball well is is an area we're going to work with her on. But definitely in the attacking third is trying to get her in more positions where she can convert, but also not just convert, she can start to assist and create for others.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Martin. Best of luck.
Cheers, Dan. Thank you.
Nuria?
Hi Martin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, I'm okay. Your team and Chelsea both had strong campaigns so far this competition. Regarding your recent results, is this a sign of progress for Spurs?
Yeah, huge progress. We've been in the quarter-final of the Subway Cup, we're now in the quarter-final of the FA Cup, and maybe if you'd have asked at the start of the season where would you expect Spurs to be within those competitions and the league, maybe everyone's opinion will be different to what it is now. So yeah, we're in a good space, we're pushing, we're competing, we know we have work to do, we know we've still got lots to evolve and be better at, we know we need to keep adding to the squad and give us that depth and quality, and we will do that. But I think it shows a lot of progress when we're in these competitions at this stage, and you come down to last 8, and if we can push again into the last 4 again and make sure that we're progressive, then we'll do that.
You had a mixed game against London City Lionesses in the last round. Chelsea known to dominate in the final third and create opportunities. What will you use from that game as you approach this fixture?
Yeah, Chelsea in the attacking third, the players they possess in that area of the pitch are world class and none better than probably Lauren James in that part of the pitch. You can see what she done yesterday and how she's done that throughout her time at Chelsea, and you then add Alyssa Thompson, Sam Kerr, Nushkin and so on to that, where they've been really dominant in the last few games in that attacking third. But we have to make sure we defend that box well, and then by doing that also I feel we have opportunities maybe on some of those transitions to exploit, where we feel we can get into spaces in behind their back line and on the break where we can maybe isolate them a little bit. But yeah, we have to make sure going into this game that we respect their threat, which we do, and respect them as a team, but we don't fear them, and make sure we go in with a point to prove after our last games.
Lisa Cobb made several saves last match. Will we expect more from her?
Hopefully not, no. Hopefully doesn't have to make any saves. If she doesn't have to make any, then we'll defend them well. But yeah, I think in the last game she done wonderfully well in the FA Cup. She made some big saves. She obviously made the save for the penalty shootout win. And she's made some big moments this year. And if she is asked this game to step up and make big saves in moments, then I know Lisa will do her best to do that. But hopefully she doesn't have to have too much work to do.
And finally, playing away against Chelsea is always a big occasion. What's the team's mentality going into the game with such a huge home crowd? Yeah, we know what it's like there. Fans are close to the pitch, it's hostile, they make a lot of noise, they back their team, and they're the part you want, and they're the games you want to be part of. I want stadiums when we play to be full, I want them to have a good crowd. It adds more to the interest of the game, it adds more interest for us as a team and for Chelsea, and it spurs the players on when you've got so many people watching. It maybe adds that little bit of pressure that you know you've got to perform, and I think at times when we've had that pressure we perform well. So yeah, hopefully lots to turn out for the game, and we can put in a good performance.